Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Ha, Rakah Kwadash, Ma'amath. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and the elders. Double honors to my elder as well, Aharwan by Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. And salutations to the fellow Akim, Wafim and children that believe in truth and in sincerity. It's your brother. I thank y'all back to another lesson, and Yaharatazah is edifying. And basically, this is some local news, all right, a little news update, all right, I'm going to be quick on it. And pretty much going into how it's titled, How Sanctions Against Russia Will Affect Gas Prices, all right? And ultimately, it's going to affect the gas prices, the supply chain, all right? And as like our elders said here, this camp, of how they're going to use Russia as a scapegoat for the economy collapse, all right, and the crash of the dollar, all right, and they're talking about how gas prices, for one, how you move around to get the dollar, how you run and get run the rat race, all right, with your vehicle, all right, of how gas prices are going to go high, all right, and more importantly, also how Russia is involved as far as how much they get per barrel, which is pretty much a good amount. So a famine, ultimately a famine coming to America, America being brought low to that third world country, all right.
President Joe Biden announcing that the U.S. and its allies have agreed to release 60 million barrels of oil from their reserves.
And we've heard that you want to know exactly how much gas, Heather, would this mean, and how will this and economic sanctions affect the prices you pay? Kaylee Tracy is on your side tonight, getting your questions answered.
Right, and that barrels of the allies are going to release, it may sound like a lot, but I think later on in this video they're going to say that it'll last Americans 3 days.
We're facing a real supply disruption from Russia as a result of the sanctions that we've placed on their businesses.
Buckle up, warns petroleum price now.
And not only your focus should be on Russia, but how Russia is a guard to these other nations, man, according to Ezekiel chapter 38, right? And China, being a big player in the game as well, is siding with Russia, all right, ultimately. And this is the book of Ezekiel chapter 38, and I'll start at verse 1. And it reads, And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God, the land of Magog, right, Russia, all right, God, the Kremlin, the land of Magog, Russia, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, behold, I am against thee. Right, so the Lord is against Russia, all right, but he's going to use Russia, all right, ultimately to turn back the captivity of Israel, all right, and bring in the third nuclear war to bring in his righteous indignation upon the earth, the wicked, and all Idumea, Esau, Edom, all right, the so-called Caucasian race in America, all right, and wipe it off the face of the earth, all right. And this is Ezekiel 38:3, and say, Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army, right? And just like a year or two ago, you had Russia talking about how they were trying to de-escalate war, all right? But now, everything is all stirred up, man, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. He mustered up the host of the battle, all right? As well as he ruleth in the kingdom of men. But it's back in Ezekiel 38:4. And I start from the top. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomar and all his bands, the house of Togomar and the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee, right? So he's going to be a guard to many people, many nations. And this verse 7, be thou prepared, right? And the bear meaning enough, all right? So they're prepared, man. Through Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, they're prepared. And this is verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them, right? And that's the point, how they're going to be a guard to these nations, man, and how China, I mentioned, is a big player in the game, as you have a lot of things over here in America is made in China, all right? And that's a loophole on a lot of goods as well, all right? So you have, Russia dealing with the oil and gas prices, as well as their affiliate, all right, being China, all right, being with the rest of all the other goods, all right, being backed up, and ultimately is going to lead to the famine that the Lord is going to bring to America, to this second Egypt, man. All right, the plagues that the Lord brought on the first Egypt, ultimately is coming upon this second Egypt, man, this second house of bondage, man.
Patrick DeHaan, and get ready to pay even more at the pump.
It would not surprise me if potentially later today or tomorrow, average prices across much of Florida could hit $3.69, maybe even $3.79 a gallon.
Hahn says we could reach record highs close to $4.50 before prices recede, maybe by the summer, but that depends on what Russia does.
But the road we're on looks like it's going to continue going higher for quite some time before there's any relief coming.
And what about the 60 million barrels of oil the U.S. and its allies are releasing? Hahn says that would only last the U.S. 3 days.
The problem is the U.S. can't just isolate itself from the rest of the world.
Increasing oil production in the U.S. as a solution, he says, is easier said than done.
Oil prices are a global market. If the U.S. were to basically keep all the oil we produce, that would cause oil companies to greatly scale back their investment in drilling in new wells, and that would eventually cost us in the long run.
Jacksonville financial expert Abdel Misa says it's not just gas prices where you'll feel the pinch.
It's food as well. Part of it is demand-based, and part of it is supply-based, right? So it's a perfect storm for inflation.
And there you go, the double whammy, all right? Not just gas, but food as well, man. Just a famine, all right? Just, the Lord's going to plague this place. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, and verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So that's what the Lord is bringing upon this place, man. All the world, but ultimately here in the land of our captivity, man, the land of the north, all right, where we're in the neck of our enemies, man, mainly here in America, all right, where you have a majority of the Lord's people here bottled up in this melting pot, all right, of this was labeled this so-called great city, all right, but now it's not great anymore, all right. The hammer is broken. And this is verse 6, and back in 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 6, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled, right? Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually, right? You have the apostles and elders out there on down, prophesying week in and week out, all right, in truth and in sincerity, all right, sounding the alarm, all right, having those prayers and those cries being bottled up and heard, all right, and stored in the Shemayims, man, in the heavens, all right, all getting bottled up, man, for the Lord to send his judgment, so the Lord is not gonna hold back his judgments anymore pertaining to the wickedness throughout the four corners of the earth, which the people commit. All right. Because you have the just crying on to the Lord. And this is verse 9. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Right. You know, so that's ultimately what it's about, man. The Lord gathering his remnant, all right, his elect from amongst the nations. All right. You know, his elect out of his peculiar people, his chosen nation being Israel. All right. But the elect from them. All right. Because even 2/3 of our people have to perish on this side because they love this place. All right. You know, they don't want to deliver themselves out of this place. All right. And free their minds spiritually and come out of the doctrines and philosophies and ways of this place, of this world. All right. Their God is the God of this world. All right. But this verse 10, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Right. And this is that Egypt is talking about, man, America, the second Egypt. All right. And this is verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. Right. You know. So, hey, that's pertaining to what? Revelations chapter 11, verse 8. You know, this is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, man. So this is the Egypt. All right, the second Egypt, you know. You know, as the Lord sent the plagues before on the first house of bondage, all right, and their Pharaoh, all right, and slay the firstborns of their people, right? Being that we coming up on the Passover, right? The Lord is getting ready to put a great slaughter on Basra, man, on Esau, Edom, and America, all right, aka spiritually Sodom and Egypt, pertaining to Revelations 11, verse 8, all right. You know, ultimately to show his might, to show his will, to show his power, man, to show he still exists, all right, and that he is, man. All right, and there's nothing above him, that he's the Alpha and Omega, man, and he resides in the nation of Israel, you know, with the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, and their forefathers, all right, being Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, so as before in verse 11 said, all right, so all those plagues on Egypt are coming to this Egypt, man, to this place, all right. Well, now I want to get the book of Exodus, chapter 7, and verse 3. And it reads, and I will harden Pharaoh's heart and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. Right. You know, and that's what he was telling Moses and his brother Aaron. All right. Most High was telling Moses and his brother Aaron. All right. What he was going to do on the first Egypt, all right, how he's going to harden the Pharaoh's heart, ultimately to show his will, to show that he is, man, that he's the power. This is verse 4, and ultimately to turn back the captivity of Israel, all right. But as the first Egypt, and he delivered all Israel out of the first Egypt, all Israel is not being delivered out of the second Egypt, all right, because the Israelites that love the first Egypt and wanted to go back into the first Egypt, all right, are still here today, all right, loving Egypt, all right, in that stuck in that lot, all right, living it up, man, living the American dream, so to speak, loving the rat race, all right, loving Esau and his ways, all right, and Massa, all right, you know, worshiping idols and tents. And this is Exodus 7 and 4. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, and I may lay my hand upon Egypt, Salakia, and bring forth my armies, right? You know, and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments, right? You know, so the Lord is going to show great judgments, man. Plagues, famine, you know, all that is sent for what? Scourges of amendment. I believe that's in 2nd Ezra chapter 16. All right. And it's verse 5. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord when I stretch forth my hand upon Egypt and bring out the children of Israel from among them. And that's the point. And that's what the Lord go do in the second Egypt, man. By way of his son, Yahweh Shai. All right. And those holy angels, man, being the Lord Sabaoth, right? The Lord of armies. And this is the book of James. Bear with me. Before I get there, I'm going to get the book of Joel, chapter 2 and verse 11. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very, very great. For he is strong that exceedeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. Right? Out of Shadia. All right. And who can abide it? Right? So the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, man. This is the book of James. Salaki. Chapter 5 and verse 4. This is the book of James, chapter 5 and verse 4, and it reads, Behold, the hire of the laborers, which have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. When we go to that word Sabaoth in the etymology in the blue letter, it goes into the term armies, all right, troops, all right. So he's the Lord of armies, man, troops, right? And he's gonna utter his voice to that army, man. Ultimately, on that day, all right, when he sent his son descend with that great shout. He turned back the captivity of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, the nation of Israel. But from there, I want to get the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 19. And this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, right? Amendment, you think of amendment as correction, all right? And all the famine, plagues, tribulation and anguish, all that is being the lamentations, mournings, and woes written in the scriptures, man. The judgments of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right? All that is being sent upon the earth for correction, man, to put it in its proper order, all right, and put the proper people in their proper position, man, being the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, the nation of Israel, all right, the apple of his eye, all right, the peculiar people, all right, as we have drunk of the cup, and now it's time for Esau, all right, to drink of the cup, all right, and these other nations to drink of that cup, all right, of slavery, servitude. This is verse 20. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Right, even 2/3 of our people. All right, they're not gonna turn and turn back. All right, they're gonna be continuing to marriage. I believe that's what Luke 17. All right, so like if I'm wrong. All right, but it goes into how they gonna be in the times of Noah. All right. You know, they're going to be sound asleep, man, because ultimately that's the state the Lord putting them in. All right. Because, again, they're the 2/3 that were in Israel. All right. That wanted to go back into the first Egypt, man. You know, that the Lord was displeased with. So they're stuck in that lot. All right. That Purim. This verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Right. You know, they go think themselves to be in good case because they can go spend some money. They getting they tax returns back. Right. They can go and spin it up and live it up, but they don't know that it's getting is emptying their bank accounts and leaving their pockets quicker than the years before, all right, because inflation is hitting, all right, and hyperinflation is coming into play, all right. You know, as you see, the gas prices is going up, and not only the gas prices, but the food, all right, and it's all from the ripple effects of poking the bear, all right. And this is back in 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion, right? You know, so it's just go increase. You know, it's Jacob's trouble, man. It's go increase. Prophecy is go continue to unfold all the way up to Revelations 13, all right, and 15, being MOTB. And that's when people really go bugged out. All right, because it's gonna be made evident. All right, what's been taught, what's been spoken. All right, been warned, giving off the warning to the people. All right, that's the mark of the beast. All right, people go be met with that life and death decision, man. And people go get weak. All right, and ultimately those who not dwelling in the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. All right. Isaiah 33:6, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time and strength of salvation. All right. So you're going to have to have the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah ultimately to even stand trial and even go through the test, man. You know. Verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, right? And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The tree shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? Right. So it's just go get, you know, real gloomy, right? Real dreadful out here, man. Like how Jake grow dreads and don't touch his head and it get all messy and locked up. That's how the grass and stuff will grow here in America. All right, you know, because the Lord he's plaguing this place, man. You know, and ultimately he's bringing that famine in. All right, and those who didn't listen and didn't want to hearken to his warning and is not going to hearken and don't want to repent and turn back to the Lord while they have time, right? They're going to be met with judgment, all right? And this is Isaiah 65:12, and I'll start wrapping it up. And this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 65 and verse 12. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. You know, so you go get the shit end of the stick, man. You know, but this is verse 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit, right? You know, so they go be in vexation of spirit, man. You know, they go get the shit into the stick and knew that they erred from the way of truth, man, and they wasn't in the way of in the way of righteousness. All right, you know, but those who dwelling in the secret place of the Most High, all right, believing on His name, all right, calling upon His name, all right, and ultimately believing and hoping in His mercy, right? You know, we shall eat in that day. We shouldn't be hungry, all right, as He's talking about famine, all right? You know, no plague shall come nigh thy dwelling, all right? This is Proverbs chapter 1 and 28, you know, but as for those who don't want to listen and don't want to hearken and repent and turn back to the Lord, you know, turn back at His reproof, all right, they're going to be a part of those judgments, those plagues, and a part of that famine, all right? And this is the book of Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 28, and it reads, Then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof, right? Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices, right? So you go and get Esau devices, man. You go be filled with your own way. You know, you go have to be left with what you know, all right? The knowledge that you claim you had or know or knew. All right, it's gonna have to be sufficient in that day. All right, the day of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, that's why in that day you want to have His knowledge, His wisdom, His truth, His understanding. And this is verse 32. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. So Khan, you know, and Yahweh Ratazah, this lesson was edifying. All right, the famine coming upon this place, as you can see, the hyperinflation is coming into play. All right, the inflation to hyperinflation. All right, as just talks. All right, even in local news is touching just the ripple effects of just a poking the bear being Russia. All right, who the Lord has prepared and made them enough. All right, and He's going to use Russia even though He's against them. All right, as He's doing right now, man. So that's what's going on as far as it's leading to the third nuclear war. All right, you know, the wick, you know, to the wildfire, Yahweh Ratazah, and Shalom, Habatah, and DTA.